throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad as well as in Tobago, from Rio Claro to Point Fortin to in the east, and of course the people in the west and the central. Every child deserves a dream, and there is no way that the present government's approach of taking back the laptops and cutting school feeding and cutting security in schools and closing down the schools will make that dream possible. We, under the People's Partnership government, went way beyond basic primary school and secondary school education. And so there was a Ministry of Education and a Ministry of Tertiary Education and Skills Training. And the man who headed that ministry was none other than Fazal Karim. He's now the Member of Parliament for Chaguanas East. Welcome him to this evening's meeting.
Thank you very much, Senator Khadija Amin, our co-chairperson for this evening, and also with Senator Tahaka Obika. The political leader of the United National Congress, leader of the opposition, member of parliament for Siparia, senior counsel, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, on her way to this very important meeting. Could you give her a tremendous round of applause for her birthday as well? My colleague on the platform tonight, Deputy Political Leader, Ms. Jolene John, could you also give her a round of applause? Councillors, aldermen, members of the party, officials, brothers and sisters, members of the media. I am indeed very honored and I'm very delighted to have been asked to say a few words tonight in Bamboo number 2. But tonight, as we meet in Bamboo number 2, I want to advise you that this forms part of a manifesto promise, a vision of our political leader and Prime Minister between the period 2010 and 2015. And that vision became a reality. Where you sit tonight is part of the historic education city of St. Augustine. And we didn't just do like others and promise, we delivered. My dear brothers and sisters, our political leader has always said to us that education and training is the passport from poverty to prosperity. And I see a number of my colleagues here who sat in the cabinet and who would have heard those sentiments echoed every week in the cabinet. I spoke about the education city at St. Augustine, and I think it's important for you to learn something tonight, for those of you who may not have known much about it. The education city of St. Augustine is really a model like what exists in Oxford, in England. That is a university town. Or in Boston, Massachusetts, that's a university town where you have Harvard and MIT. And therefore, our political leader and Prime Minister wanted to create a similar kind of event and activity and accomplishment for a university town at St. Augustine, that city. The city that we speak about, which we enacted, and I want to also indicate to you that our chairperson over here tonight, Ms. Khadija Amin, she was a member of that committee, that St. Augustine Education City, when she was chairman of the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation, as well as Mr. Peter Kanhai, who was on that committee representing the business committee. You could give them a tremendous round of applause. My dear brothers and sisters, let me tell you a little bit about this, because I want to spend some time in letting you know about what we have done in the tertiary education sector. The education city, the boundaries of the city, range from Orange Grove Road in the east to the Uriah Butler Highway right here in the west, to the Caroni River in the south, to the foothills of the Northern Range in the north. And what the objective was to establish a vibrant services sector linked to the academic community. In that regard, the city would have focused, among other things, on student community, transportation, security and infrastructure. As you know, we have a tremendous burden on our hands now in terms of crime and criminality. Technology parks, internet cafes, shopping plaza. That committee was headed by a very distinguished academic, Dr. Asad Mohammed from the University of the West Indies. The St. Augustine Education City, which was unprecedented, has a square mile area of 32 square miles. And in fact had a population, a resident population of 57,000 persons and a student population of 40,000 students. We had 32 primary schools, 2,600 businesses, 19 secondary schools, and guess what? The highest concentration of any part of this country in terms of tertiary education and higher education institutions, the number was 23. But ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I want to spend a little time in telling you and answering a question. They often say to us now in the parliament, you wasted so much money, you engaged in corruption, you engaged in mismanagement, you engaged in wastage. What have you done when you were there in government? Well, I want to tell you, and I want to tell them, and I want to tell the country some of the things we did and the accomplishments under Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa in the education city of St. Augustine alone. So listen to me. We established the Academy of Nursing and Allied Health through COSTAD and the University of the West Indies at El Dorado. We constructed a Medical Student Activity Center for the Faculty of Medical Sciences, UWI. If we did not construct that activity center, the medical sciences faculty was facing the threat of de-accreditation. We renovated and extended the chemical engineering block at St. Augustine. We constructed and completed the student halls of residence on St. John's Road, UWI St. Augustine. We upgraded the Health Economics Unit, a regional institute for research and training at UWI St. Augustine. We constructed, for the first time in many years, a building to accommodate the Seismic Research Center and other research teaching and teaching facilities on that facility. We upgraded and expanded Canada Hall's student residence. We upgraded and expanded the Senior Common Room on the St. Augustine campus. The construction of a teaching and learning center. We also assisted the University of the Southern Caribbean in terms of constructing a hall of residence. We upgraded and expanded the MIC Technology Center right here in Macoya and on the road to Mount St. Benedict, St. Bede's Vocational Center. My dear brothers and sisters, when you drive at Mount Hope, you will see the construction of a new dental school. We invested in that, and we're going to see that opening very soon, a 100% expansion in the dental school of UWI. We upgraded the vet school. We established a workforce assessment center at St. Joseph. I can go on and on, but let me just give you a few more. We allocated $1 million for the first time again in the history of the university, a center for spirituality. You often see people reading namaz to the accompaniment of the air-conditioned systems at the back of the Alma Jordan, which was called the JFK Library before. We also see the expansion of the Hugh Wooden Law School on our remit, and we constructed a Center for Workforce Research and Development. And one of the things we did that was novel, we engaged under the leadership of our very distinguished Professor Vijay Narayan Singh, a peri-operative surgical technology program where we trained over 100 persons to work in operating theaters in this country. Never before in the history of this country. Right here at Valsain Teachers College, we upgraded the laboratories for the Bachelor's in Education program and established right here in walking distance at the UTT, the first ever model preschool in Trinidad and Tobago of the UTT. Well, my dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, all of these things didn't happen just by guess. There was leadership, there was dynamic leadership, and there was vision supplied to us and guided to us by Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, our Prime Minister. The St. Augustine campus is now under pressure. We have a situation where when you retire, people's vacancies are not being filled. The number of part-time lecturers, again, reducing. You would have heard Tahaka talk about the GATE program. When we came into office, the participation rate in the tertiary sector was 42%. Mrs. Bisesa set a target that by 2015, we should attain a participation rate in the tertiary sector of 60%. But guess what? By 2015, we exceeded that, and we clocked 65.24%. And if we added the vocational sector to that, we'd have crossed 70%. My dear brothers and sisters, when you look at what is happening in the GATE program now, you see that the GATE program moved from a high in 2013 of about $700 million investing in human capital in Trinidad and Tobago, with about 55,000 persons benefiting, to today, almost half that amount, just over $400 million invested. So as a matter of fact, the program has been cut by half. That is the kind of pressure we're going through. But my dear brothers and sisters, I want to deal with another matter. Some time ago, not too long, I saw a newspaper article in which the Minister of Labor, Mrs. Jennifer Baptiste-Primus, said that ghosts were chased from the OJT program. She said that she had evidence that there were ghosts in the OJT program under the previous government, and that she was exorcising. So she has now moved from being a Minister of Labor to being an exorcist. She is now exorcising all these ghosts that she found. I want to ask her, I want to ask Mrs. Baptiste-Primus, have you exorcised all the ghosts you have found so far? Or do you still have ghosts existing? And if the answer to that question is that you don't know, then you must investigate and you must tell us. And I am placing this question in the public domain. I want to ask you, if you are aware, Mrs. Baptiste-Primus, that under your watch, an employee at the OJT head office in Chaguanas, who was removed from Port of Spain and sent to that facility, has about 25 ghosts receiving monies in excess of $1 million, all of whom are one of them is his mother receiving a check. Friends and family. And therefore I want to ask you, you talk about you had ghosts. Where's the evidence of the ghosts? How many have you reported to the police? But I call upon you now to investigate this matter and report it to the fraud squad of the Trinidad and Tobago Police. My dear brothers and sisters, we are seeing and we are reading talk about UTT and impending closure. When we left office, UTT had a very healthy financial position. But do you know what they did? They transferred over $300 million to the UTT Tamana Park, the signature building. To put a building in there, you don't know where the students are, you don't know how you get in there, you don't have any dormitories to get there. And that is one of the things that we are very concerned about. They're talking about 456 staffers to be regularized. This is a rehash. We announced this in 2014 at the graduation ceremony at UTT in Omira, and therefore you are not doing anything new. But one of the things that really caught my eye was an advertisement in the yesterday paper. You will have heard Khadija talk about from cutting cane to flying plane. We landed a Boeing 727 jet at Camden. Never before. The vision of Mrs. Kamala Prasad Visesa was not only to have an aviation campus, but that was going to be our second domestic airport in Trinidad and the third in Trinidad and Tobago. I tell you, under Mrs. Visesa, when she returns as Prime Minister, I'm sure she's going to give consideration to opening that airport in Camden. And you know, I read a part of this thing, you know. This new president of UTT said, and I want to quote him. He says, as the regional forerunner for aviation training and education, UTT is doing its part to impact the industry. You haven't opened the campus yet. You don't know how it come. What is the name of the aircraft that we landed? You publish it here as 9Y UTT. The name of the aircraft, Mr. President, and I want to tell you this, look at the door, the front door, just at the belly of the plane, you will see the aircraft is called Natalie. So we landed Natalie, and I want to ask you, I call upon you and the University of Trinidad and Tobago to open the aviation campus immediately. Keep Natalie warm. We have to make sure that all our boys and girls and our students there access these programs. But you know, I saw in the newspaper where our Honorable Prime Minister went to England to meet with the Prime Minister of India to ask him what? He wants help in aviation training for helicopter pilots for Trinidad. I don't know if he knew, or if he doesn't know, or if nobody told him. We train helicopter pilots right here in Trinidad. And I want to tell him, when he comes back to Trinidad tomorrow evening, take a trip down to the UTT Aviation campus. There's a simulator there waiting to be opened. The AW-139 helicopter. We have the ability to train everybody right here. You are sending people from the Air Guard to train in fixed wing in the United States of America. And I'm asking you, why are you doing that? If we have the potential, you talk about diversification, you talk about jobs, you don't have foreign exchange, but yet still you're sending people outside. That is one of the reasons why Mrs. Bisesa opened the aviation campus right here, so that we could respond to the workforce needs of the people. There's an expanding industry. I have another question which I'd like to ask as well. Every time the PNM gets into power, there's a professor by the name of Andrew Ramrup. He's into tailoring. I suspect, I don't know. You see, there's a photograph with the Honorable Prime Minister, look very dapper when he meets the Queen. I understand this person is the person who is supplying him with bespoke suits. When we look at the budget, we are told that in the budget speech by the Minister of Finance, that a bespoke tailoring program will be started by UTT. Now we are seeing that that program has moved to the MIC under this Professor Andrew Ramrup. But I want to ask the question as well today. Professor Ramrup, can you tell us in Trinidad and Tobago how many students you have in that program? Could you tell us what is the duration of that program? Could you tell us whether that program is accredited? But very importantly, Professor Ramrup, could you tell us how many millions of dollars you are getting to train for bespoke tailoring in Trinidad? Something that we have been doing at the John Donaldson Technical Institute and other places for years. And therefore, Professor Ramrup, I want to ask you, tell the country how much money you receive from Creative TT and the Ministry of Trade. I call upon you to answer those questions now. And I want to, if you don't answer it now, I will file it in the Parliament for him to answer. He must come there and answer it. Mustn't hide and run. But you know what beats me? I now hear that the Minister of Education saying that we must go tech voc education. Well, you know why he's saying that? I give him a book to read in the Parliament. It's called Vocational Education and Training in Times of Economic Crisis. My dear brothers and sisters, what we are witnessing in this country now is a failed government, a failed state, a failed education system. There's no role for the small man in the PNM. And I'm hearing that Minister Imbert is saying that we are turning the corner. Well, that is a blind corner for he. The only corner he will turn, and he will see a light shining in the east, is a light of Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa waiting to return this country to good government. Thank you very much.
Very vibrant, hardworking, intelligent, and committed Member of Parliament, Dr. Fazal Karim. I also want to recognize and acknowledge other sitting MPs here today. We have MP Rujunat Indar Singh, MP Rodney Charles, MP Barry Padarath, MP Christine Nawal Hussain, Rushton Paré, MP. We also have the former acting Prime Minister, Madam Daphne Phillips, with us tonight. And also Development Corporation, under whose term significant advances was made in terms of delivery of houses to the people. Over 7,000 houses built. They are still giving out the keys from those houses. She was the chairman of the UDCOT, Urban Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago. And please join me as I welcome on stage, and Mr. Songman, you can cue the music, for the Deputy Political Leader of the United National Congress. Join me in welcoming on stage the vibrant firebrand, Jolene John.
Come down. Come down, Father, come down. Whenever you come down, Father, come down, baby. Come down, Father, beg you come down.
Our political leader is here, and we kindly let us welcome her. Give her a resounding welcome stand, please, for the entrance of our political leader. Thank you so much.
Let us give a warm St. Augustine welcome to the woman who will be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago again, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Leader of Opposition and political leader of the United National Congress. St. Augustine people have always loved Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And I know you are happy to have her in our hometown. You're happy to have her here in Bamboo. We welcome to St. Augustine constituency the leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Dr. Gregory Bisesa. We have some children of Bamboo, this Bamboo government school, who also want to give a letter to the political leader. And we are happy to have you and your parents here tonight. We now resume our program with our deputy political leader, my sister, Jolene John.
Watching the time how the people are moving and murmuring to myself, we should never have to be the way I see this world running shouldn't have to be. Cause now every man's cup is filled with hate and overflowing. Father, I know things are going wrong, yeah, it's wickeder than before. We really checked that we could have run things, but it never looks so anymore, no. Come down, Father, come down. Come down.
Thank you very much. Thank you, political leader. Welcome to your meeting. Good night to all my friends at the head table. My namesake, Seema, Brother Karim, and Sister Khadija, Brother Bika. Thank you all so much. Members of Parliament, my mommy, brothers and sisters, members of the media. You could not have missed the blaring headlines of last week. Faris fails, followed by not so fast, Jerlene. It was actually me he was talking about. All the brouhaha was as a result of a judgment which had been handed down by Madame Justice in the now infamous matter relating to the purchase of lands at Eden Gardens. In a nutshell, Madame Justice ruled to dismiss the matter and assign costs for the state's account. Now it appears that Faris was not happy with the headlines which followed the judgment, so he called a press conference to berate the judiciary, media, and generally put on a Hollywood production. Faris was yelling and thumping his chest that he had not lost the case, but it was Madame Justice who was wrong. He claimed she had ruled against herself. To hear Faris tell it, the honorable judge had lost the case, and to his dismay, he had to pay the costs. To put some sense into all of this, Alwari and his costly legal team lost spectacularly in the courts of Trinidad and Tobago. He claims the case was not settled on his merit. I want to remind the Attorney General that their PNM plot has no merit. It had none on September the 15th, 2015, and it has none now. You all wasted taxpayers' money in your all-out war on Jerlene. I think sometimes Faris and they don't know where you come from, and I come from a little village where a natural rite of passage is where they teach young girls to pour hot oil in mayonnaise. So, you know what I'm talking about? It's a black woman's secret. They wouldn't understand, you know? So Faris did not win last week. He winning this week, and I go in very slowly because Faris probably have brain damage from the big lash Ramdeen put on him. So I recommend that Faris get somebody to hold his head and rub it with some bay rum and give him some smelling salts because he need it. You see, I mean, this matter that they're pursuing has no merit. There was no wrongdoing on the part of the HTC. The HTC in 2013 was cleared by the Integrity Commission. Chairman was Ken Gordon, because there was no wrongdoing. The HTC was cleared before the Joint Select Committee of Parliament. As a matter of fact, when Ramdeen saw this case, that is Senator Ramdeen are talking about, you know? We go back a long way. When you're going into a battle, go with Senator Ramdeen. Ramdeen looked at it, and he said, listen to me. He said, Mother, I want all 10 defendants, you know, because Ramdeen knows a hustle. So I tell Ramdeen, I don't know these people. Just go with the HCC folks. So now he vexed with me because he wanted to defend everybody because he knew he was going to win. Because that's a real attorney. You know, this government has spent over $20 million on audits to bring frivolous litigation against people. And when you ask Faris whether he was the one who had reported the HDC in this frivolous matter to the Integrity Commission, he will not say it is him. So they file and they pretend they're looking for evidence. The time did not run out on them. They just had no evidence. And this man, this Faris, is a dunce who likes to roar, and all he's doing is costing taxpayer money. And basically, I am saying tonight, should Faris refile that matter? Ramdeen want him to refile, you know. More cost. But the cost must be for Faris's account. He must resign and he must pay it personally. The country mustn't bear Faris and Rowley and the stupidness. You understand what I'm saying? You know? So all this, you see, I am told that all of this grandstanding could be because the PNM internal elections are very soon, you know? You know, we know that they call Rowley a Rottweiler, and, you know, Faris wants to run for leadership. So Faris feels to go up against the Rottweiler, he has to become a werewolf. Now, why all this going on? The Prime Minister in London, and for my UNC friends in Britain, there's an immigrant issue right now, you understand? Thousands of people went to England 70 years ago. You know, they didn't have a lot of the procedural stuff. The paperwork wasn't in order. They went in by 1948 or thereabouts. They went in some boat they call Windrush, so they call them the Windrush generation. So, you know, these people now, in 2010, the British Home Office destroyed the documents, And these people they're having a hard time to check whether these people have indefinite leave to remain. So the folks who are affected can't work. They have been there for so long. They're not old people. They can't rent a property. They have been thrown out. They have no health benefits, etc. So the Caribbean Prime Minister has been there for sugar, took the opportunity to say, let us try and press Theresa May for a meeting. You know, she was resistant, but she eventually agreed. When the photographs came out, we didn't see our Prime Minister because he, like Jericho, he just said, hey. So now the acting Prime Minister said, there was a meeting that our Prime Minister had, Rowley had, so he just couldn't attend with this Windrush thing. So because he had to meet with Shell and BP and so on, because of some oil reserve thing. You know, they're always vague with what his Rowley's whereabouts. Now, he said, but never mind, he will send the Minister of Foreign Affairs and you'll recognize that guy because that's the same fella who has the Dominica problem. And he alone, you know, could have acted in Dumb and Dumber. Now, why is it that whenever there is an issue to do with people's suffering, with people's vulnerability, our Prime Minister is always missing in action? What it is about, I mean, Brother Karim talked about it, what it about the poor and the vulnerable, that this fella could never show up, you understand? I mean, Theresa May felt that this thing needed her attention, but not Rowley. Of course, on Sunday, I saw him skinning and grinning. He's at Buckingham Palace, face all lit up. You know, I'm sure he was there looking at Her Majesty and thinking, Manning boy, now who is the man? I'll probably have to write a new book now. Keeping up, Keith Christopher, keeping up with Elizabeth of Windsor. You understand? Because all he's about is about the powerful and the mighty. He's not about the vulnerable. He did not think that he could have told Shell and BP to just wait for 2 hours, an hour even. They are there to meet with the government of Trinidad and Tobago. They will wait. They have to wait. You see, last week Friday I was told, in trying to explain why our Prime Minister is so cold and uncaring, the psychic Yesenia, I think it's Adams, is her name? Yesenia. Gonzalez, sorry, yes, Gonzalez, was doing some kind of Facebook Live event. And she lit 2 candles. Now this is true, you know, I can't make this thing up. And when they blow out when she called Rowley name. No, that is not the thing. She said this gentleman is very cold because in a past life, he was a snake. Now, I feel Yesenia cannot see. I feel Yesenia is wrong. Rowley in his past life was the mysterious tombstone from Tobago because he's a prime minister without knowing it. He doesn't know what his duties are. He does not know what he has to do. He does not know that he has to lead. He does not know that he's comforter-in-chief, that is what a prime minister is. You understand? When Kamla Prasad Biswas as prime minister established a ministry of the people to ensure that citizens in need got access to food cards. VAT was removed from basic food items to make it more affordable. Mothers with disabled children were given a grant of $500 each month to assist. She created the Children Life Fund with her first cabinet note, and she contributed 10% of her salary every month and mandated that her ministers contributed 5%. 15%, sorry. What did Dr. Rowley say? He said, I want my money. I work hard for it, and I want it all now. What did he say when women are violently abused by men? Some of these women even end up there. He said, too bad. I did not choose who is in your bedroom. When single mothers have to go out to work and young girls become a little wayward, he said, too bad, good luck with that. They are like hyenas in the African jungles. He still has not advocated any restorative programs of hope and opportunity for our sons who have been abandoned by their fathers. With no guidance, they turn to gangs. His response to that is to champion the anti-gang legislation, to persecute them. No policies of hope or restorative program. St. Augustine, tonight we're on the corridor. Corridor people, these are our young people, mainly of African descent. Hopeless, no access. No seat at Rowley's table, because of course, they are not privileged. You see, Laventil, he sent a young man, Leonce, to Parliament. I'm told he's an engineer. Why hasn't Rowley given him some kind of position, even as water fetcher in the cabinet? Is it because he's a black Rasta and he has no status, no standing? You know, but the situation is different. If you are a certain young minister who leave a very pregnant wife for another woman you met on the job, You are promoted to the minister of everything. And then they want to preach to young black men, telling them to zip up their pants when they are parking their PPs everywhere. Everywhere. They are parking, telling young black boys in Laventille, zip up your pants. But their PPs unzipped. Parking it everywhere. You understand? It is good when you're a young minister. Laventille West Hines, I don't even know why Laventille voted for Hines to go back. When Hines, he came Minister of Transport and so on, they're happy. Laventille could get something. But Imbe will not give Hines 1 cent to spend because Hines was just warming the seat for Rohan to come. He's the real Minister of Transport. He comes, he discredits the Port Authority Board, cancel 18 months contract from the Superfast. We know how that ended. Last time I saw Rohan, he's there, all they do is stunt and gambage and so on. He's on the stern of Superfast, somebody here of the TNT Spirit, going to Tobago. Of course, it's Zest. He's there, he has a priest playing the fool, sprinkling the boat. Nothing wrong with the boat, but everything wrong with Rohan. Rohan is the one who needs sprinkling. You understand? He needs more than sprinkling. You understand? Rohan needs mother corn husk. So you see, when it is, they pull out Hines unceremoniously from works. They put him in public utilities. I say, okay, he could help Laventille there. Lo and behold, Rowley yanked him out. He put a Ghanaian. Because a foreigner even better than Hines. So Mr. Ghanaian turns up at the president's house. President tell him to be sworn in as a minister. You have to be 25 years old and over. 1, tick. You have to be saying or words to that effect. Tick. You have to be a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. He said, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And he went off to Ghana to come back to be sworn in. Imagine that. A foreigner is better. So what they put Hines, they relegated him to dust files in the Attorney General's office. I want to tell you tonight, if Rowley puts Hines any lower, we will have to limbo to find him. This fella who behaved as a crazy uncle, talks a lot of stupidness, a disgraceful human being, a disgrace to Laventille. You understand? You have to limbo to find Hines, a man with no dignity and self-respect. You come from Laventille, the heights of Laventille, a policeman, you work your way, you want to be a lawyer, you're this and you're that, and you got to Rowley put you to dust files in the back of an AG's office and maybe to buy dye for Alwari beard. Who knows what he's there doing? Because we know it's only stupidness he's doing. So every day I meet people from around this corridor who would tell me, Jolene, I'm sick and tired of this PNM regime. You hear it too. My question to them, aren't you sick and tired about being sick and tired? What are you waiting on? Do you think Jesus is going to fix it? No! You need to get up and get, not because Rowley tell you have no privilege and no access. You have power in numbers. And with the UNC intends to put you back to work. The policies of Kamla Prasad Business Administration. Her policies created 52,000 jobs from 2010 to 2015, and we will create it again. We have a jobs agenda, a jobs manifesto. Right now in Laventille, along this corridor, every morning the only vacancies is for gangs and for drug block. Thereafter we find our children laying in white vests and short pants with slippers on their foot. They have nothing in the drain, their blood is going down these drains. And Rowley with his hard heart is smiling to Elizabeth, keeping up with Elizabeth. That is all he is good for. Rubbish. So my political leader has told me, because she felt, well, Dr. Eric Williams started, he said the future of the children is in the school bag. The future of the country is in the school bag of the children. And in Kamla Prasad Business said the future of the country is in the laptops of the children. And she has said, we were about to roll this out, that within the context of the depressed areas, low-income areas, that we have to look at a way to institute free broadband access service to low-income households. This new initiative will bring high-speed broadband access to low-income households across Trinidad and Tobago. Our leader has said, in continuing her effort to close the digital divide, ensuring that everyone, regardless of income, has access to high-speed internet service. She does not view broadband access as a luxury. It is a necessity. She sees it as a critical component for Trinidad and Tobago economics growth, Trinidad and Tobago's economic growth and competitiveness. You see, just last week, I was looking at an interview on MSNBC with Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. And his vision is in alignment with our political leader. He has said they have over 2 million jobs in coding. Can you imagine if Kamala Persad-Bissessar were the Prime Minister today? She would have been there meeting with Tim Cook, telling him that we are presenting with, of course, our brother Fazal. We would have been presenting a program to teach our children to code. And we would have been the hub for coding because they have 2 million jobs in America right now for people to code. You know what 2 million jobs in coding will do for the people of the corridor? Do you know what that will do for the corridor? He has said that there are incredible jobs in artificial intelligence and augmented reality. You have heard Kamala Persad-Bissessar talking about that. She said, my leader, while many of our middle-class students go to bed, go home to internet access, allowing them to do research, write papers, and communicate digitally with their teachers and other students, too many lower-income children go unplugged every afternoon when school ends. This homework gap runs the risk of widening the achievement gap, denying hardworking students the benefit of a technology-enriched education. It's about collapsing the gap. When she ensured that there was a place for every child in secondary school, where you can go as far as your education, as far as your effort and your ambition will take you. That is what she did. She opened the door. Then within a Basdio Pandey administration, we started dollar for dollar because oil was $9 a barrel. When Manning came back, he said, this is good policy. This is good policy. So what did he do? He said, we are doing better. Let us open the gate. That is good policy from administration to administration. Kamala Persad-Bissessar came back and she said, okay, we are going to go now with the internet highway. We are going to give laptops. What does Rowley do? What does Rowley and his cabinet of deplorables do? They took it away, and they have no shame about this thing. So tonight, I am telling you, corridor, we have to take our government away from Rowley. Together, we are strong. Tonight, on the corridor, the UNC want to put you back to work. We need to demand our right to work now. Now more than ever, we need a leader with vision, one with a plan, one with compassion, one whose policies create jobs and opportunities, one who gives us health care and hope, one whose policies will protect our vulnerable women and children. Tonight, I urge you to let Kamala Persad-Bissessar be your bridge over troubled waters. All ye that are labored and heavy laden, I assure you that in the house of the rising sun, there are many mansions. And if it were not so, I, this picky-head black girl from Charlottesville, would have told you. I would have told you that it is not so in the house of the rising sun. Do not study the PNM and their vindictiveness, their nastiness, their vilification. Never mind what they do. The Lord is our shepherd, and we shall not want. We will lift up our eyes unto the hills. My Tobago granny taught me that. Let's keep on working. Let's keep on fighting for a brighter TNT. Let's keep hope alive, brothers and sisters. I thank you so much.
You don't know. Pound a little sugar no pan. Me not sleep with trouble no man. Oh, said I had a close one yesterday. Jah put an angel over me. Be strong. All of her meditation. One day things must get better.
My sister Jolene John, make some noise for her. When Jolene hit them, there is no way to start. And I want to acknowledge Ramdeen. Where's Ramdeen? Senator Gerald Ramdeen, who is here. I also see my colleague Anita Haynes, the leader of the opposition bench in the Senate, Brother Wade Mark, a stalwart. And where's Saddam Hussein? Senator Saddam Hussein. Let me acknowledge those who came and walked with us as we met the people of St. Augustine in the past week. We walked in Curep, in Page, in St. Augustine South, in Spring Village, Bamboo 3, Bamboo 2. And I see people from throughout St. Augustine constituency here. St. Augustine, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud that we are here in this constituency. Give yourselves a round of applause. our hard-working councillors in St. Augustine, Jalen Rupnarayan, Seema Ramsaran, and Vijay Paltu, were also joined by our councillor colleagues from different parts of the country. And I thank you for your continued support. And now to do the very special thing of introducing our featured speaker tonight. I am not going to introduce the featured speaker. We have a young lady from Bamboo number 3. If I call her name, the people from St. Augustine, you might know her. But if I tell you she's Pandit Yankateshu's daughter, you'll know who I'm talking about. Let us welcome Deepika Balkisoon, who will introduce the political leader of the United National Congress.
Members of the head table, ladies and gentlemen, good night. I bring greetings from Bamboo number 1, 2, and 3 and other surroundings. I say a hearty welcome to your Monday night forum. It gives me the great pleasure to introduce tonight's featured speaker. She was an alderman of the Siparia Corporation. She was an excellent minister of education. She is the member of parliament for Siparia. She is the official leader of the opposition in parliament. She was and will be the next best Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I welcome to the podium our dear, beautiful, and hard-working leader for the feature address, the Honorable Kabula Prasad Bisasa. So from sun-up straight to sunset, you could catch I bus in a sweat. I must climb out, I feel like hope. Move any mountain, I trample any building like hope. Man better than monster, dismantle any structure.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. I am old enough. For those who are asking, how old are you? I'm old enough. I'm old enough, I'm ready, willing, and able to serve as your next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for your love and your support. Thank you so much. So here we are in St. Augustine, my UNC family, friends of the UNC, with us here tonight. I'm happy to see the support, those of you who've come out. And of course, as you may know, our party has been working across Trinidad, walking through neighborhoods, along streets, byways, everywhere. We are taking note of your concerns and helping where we can. The team is hard at work for you, Team UNC, as we prepare to return good governance to Trinidad and Tobago. So I want you to watch this video as we thank all those UNC members who have been out doing field work.
Because what don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources. And all of them still can't kill me now. You see, if them sink me under ice, so ride out the storm and just like a boat. So as the box me down, so I get up. They have to wonder how others get up. And every crack I see, I just see through. And by the help of God, I just get through. I just want some. I feel like hope. Move any mountain, I trample any building like hope. Man better than monster, dismantle any structure, boy. Trample them, trample them, trample them, trample them. Rip up my shout and mess up my cheese and step on the problems, then what we gonna do? Trample them, trample them, trample them. Kick out them, kick out my problems, kick out my problems. The Most High never give us more than we can bear, but He give us the strength and the will and the power and the courage to handle
Thank you. Can we give the team a round of applause? They've been working really hard in this St. Augustine constituency. And as you know, throughout, UNC teams have been walking the ground, as you say, very much foot on the ground, in the field. We want to thank all the UNC activists, councillors, aldermen, MPs, senators, who have been out in the field there for us. So here we are now. It is going to be almost 3 years. I'm having a little problem with this microphone. It needs to go a little to the left, please. I'm sorry, please. It's blocking my view of paper. A little bit to the left, please. Yeah, okay, a little forward this way. Thank you very much. Okay, can you hear me? Thank you. Thank you. So I'm saying we are going into almost 3 years of the Rowley regime. And in that time, since September 2015 to now, that regime, the Rowley regime, has been making every kind of attack on the poor, on the working class, and on the middle classes. What we've seen in terms of their policy, tax, tax, and more tax. Tonight you heard from our speakers some of the work that we did throughout the country, but especially in this constituency. I want to ask you tonight, did you realize when you came in here that this school was built by the UNC? Did you know that? This school was built by the UNC. This school, we taking credit for that. But what we see now, the taxes, property tax. The ministers have told us that the pensioners have to pay this property tax, as well as the squatters have to pay this tax. Now, so those who are most vulnerable, who will be most hard hit, will get the pressure. And guess what? One minister tells the country, speaking in the parliament, tells the country that $5,000 fine for failing to file your form is reasonable. I don't know what world they are living in, because the majority of persons in this country, $5,000 in a fine is outrageous. So they are in a different bubble. They are in a different reality. They are in their own reality. They are not on the ground. They do not feel, they do not care for the 99%. All they care about is the 1% elite. And I'll explain and show you why. They have put taxes on used tires. Who uses used tires? 30% tax on used tires. Is it poor man? Because if you're not poor, you're not buying a used tire. You will buy a new tire. And whilst for the poor man to get transport about, you put a 30% tax on those used tires, the man who owns a yacht take off the taxes on yachts. And you know who is that man? The minister himself. He is the minister putting on the tax on you and taking off the tax. I mean, it's shameless. It is shameless and wicked in the way that they're running the country. Now, you have seen, I think Dr. Munilal made a comment about the HDC evictions. How many is it? A few hundred people for eviction? 352, thank you. You keep in count, Senator Ma. 352 to be evicted from HDC. I wonder if you remember that we told them that our plan, and we had started to work on that plan, Jerry mentioned it before, the plan was to let HDC people who had been there over a certain period of time, we would give them the house for $1. You all remember that? We wanted to have a home-owning democracy. We wanted to have a land-owning democracy, so that where your navel string is buried in the land of Trinidad and Tobago, that you would have a chance. Ordinary people, poor people, working people would have a chance to have a house, to stay in the house. And on top of that, those who do not have land, to get land. I want you to remember it was a UNC government who regularized squatters in this country. Do you all remember that? Not one single squatter house was broken down whilst we were in government when I was your prime minister. Now they want to evict people from their homes. They have forgotten the burdens they are placing on people, that we have so many job losses, so much unemployment. You cannot pay the HEC rent. Munilal put out. But you know what we have done? We would have done in a position like this where people just don't have the money. We would have given them a moratorium in these hard times until better that they could pay the HDC money. So we are not saying that they must break the law and not pay money, but they should be given a chance to live. Here is a man, a prime minister, who bought millions of dollars in paintings, and then he decided, well, wait now, I don't have nowhere to put these paintings, you know. I don't have anywhere to gallery these paintings. So you know what? I'll go in and build a castle. Go in and fix the castle. So that they could go there with their 1% friends for cocktails and to eat cake and lime and view the paintings in Solmaya Castle. That is their priority. Their priority is not you. The priority is not that 99% of the population. Their priority is about the 1%. Let us not forget that. We keep forgetting. When we remember the things they did, you taking money to fix golf course, man. People cannot get medicine. You cannot get proper medicine in the hospital. I heard one of our speakers tonight talk about Mount Hope and so on. You cannot get surgery. But they're spending money, millions, in foreign exchange to pay a minister to get treatment in the US. And you can't even get a bed in a hospital in Trinidad and Tobago. You have to wait in the corridor. What is their priority? What is it? Their priority is 1%. Friends and family, 1%. When we look about, we see over 100 schools have not been completed. And I heard, is it Seema? Council Seema spoke of the school in St. Augustine here. Or was it Council Jalen? Tonight. Yeah, the Presbyterian school that is almost complete. They will not do there about 100 schools. Totally bush and grass. As I know my colleague would say, pumpkin, Karaili vine growing on the buildings, and they will not open them. They will not come. Ramaitre Sindhu right down in I.A.N. 2 schools there, 2 high schools almost complete. They just stopped work, they just stopped everything when they came into office. Priority totally out of kilt, totally in upside down mode. And so you can't get basic medicine. Imagine people are going blind in this country because they cannot afford to buy the eye drops for the eyes. They cannot afford it. And I'm telling you because I know, because I use those eye drops. And it costs $360. And you have to put that eye drop, if you are diabetic like I am, you have to put that every day. But that's not their priority. People cannot get their diabetic medication. You can't get it. And many of us are, as the Trinities call it, you have sugar. You are diabetic, and you cannot even get that medicine. Priority is totally not in the real world with the most vulnerable in our population. Surgery backlog, Dr. Gopi says here somewhere. Surgery backlogs. People can't get surgery. They are shameless and they are wicked. Can you imagine, as I say, the millions you're spending for a man who is not doing his job? Okay, so everybody gets ill, you take some time out, you're ill on your sick leave. But that cannot be that you have people in a constituency like La Hoqueta Talparo without an MP. What is it, 7, 8 months or something it is now? Many months. Being paid, and not just being paid, and all the bills being paid, when right here, poor people cannot get eye drops medication, cannot get diabetic medication. Total priorities. And now we see here cancer deaths. The oncology center that we started, they've stopped it as everything else. I'm sure that every person sitting here tonight, or every person listening, knows someone, a loved one, who has cancer. Stop the work on the oncology center. But let me remind you, as your Prime Minister, I caused to be built, not one hospital, the Cuba Children's Hospital, the San Fernando Teaching Hospital. Under my watch, we completed the Scarborough Hospital. We're not stopping there, We began work on the Rima Hospital and the Point Fortin Hospital. We did work on the health centers. Let me remind you, unprecedented in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, under my watch, 5 hospitals, some still in construction. 5, unprecedented. But we see now a total reversal of policy. Now recently, we are reading in the newspaper, Prime Minister in England, gallerying himself there, as Gillian told us, talking about Ayurvedic medicine and talking to the Prime Minister of India. Dr. Rowley, been there, done that. Together with MP Fazal and others, I think Dr. Khan might have been there as well, we signed the agreement with the government of India for Ayurvedic medicine. I visited, at their request, their Ayurvedic hospital. I saw it with my own eyes. We signed the agreement. So Dr. Rowley is coming here to fool people, to make you think he's bringing Ayurvedic. I'm waiting to see that. I'm waiting to see if that will really happen, because, you know, they lie so much. You can't trust them. They don't keep their word. So let's wait and see. I am told that the GOV'T Children's Hospital, that this government will be engaged in a government-to-government relationship. Not with India. That's the other thing, huh? The news stories have people confused that the Indian government is coming to set up Ayurvedic and run that hospital. No. I am told that they are engaging by the end of this month with a government-to-government agreement to get the hospital up and running. Tonight, I serve notice on them that every citizen in Trinidad and Tobago is calling on them to make sure that when you open that hospital, that you have free treatment for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Free health care. Free health care. And then the PNM propaganda is so vicious. Tonight I want to correct something that they have been out-touting. You see, they thought nobody will catch them. They feel they could do things in secret and get away, but they don't, because the truth will always surface. So tonight, I would say the only thing they're good about is spreading their propaganda. Before the 2015 general election, up to now, they have been using every means available to spread their propaganda. So they have shown they will do whatever it takes to keep them in power, to grab power, and then to stay in power. So what have they done now? They have come up with Emailgate 2. You remember that Emailgate 1, the fake emails? They've come up with Emailgate 2. By now, you would have heard about Cambridge Analytica, another distraction by this government that they're pushing to try to taint the UNC. They're making wild statements and accusations with no evidence, and they want to take this to a joint select committee and so on, which is not the place for that. If you want to investigate, let the police investigate, let the DPP investigate, let the Integrity Commission investigate. Don't take a political party, don't take a political party before a joint select committee that is headed by whom? A fellow named Hines, an executive member of the PNM. You put him in charge. They had promised us when we had talks with the Prime Minister that they will put an independent senator. Well, that was years ago, more than a year. Prime Minister agreed, and then up to today, Hines is going to be a judge, a jury, executioner, and prosecutor. So the UNC wants no part of that. We want no part of that pappy show. Pappy show. On top of that, when you read the law, a JSC investigating a matter like that is totally unconstitutional. Section 66A of the Constitution, which, by the way, was passed by the first UNC government under Mr. Pandey, was inserted into our Constitution to set up different joint select committees. One of them is on national security. You have others on the various ministries. So they were set up, when you read Section 66A, the mandate, the purpose of JSCs is to inquire into the work of government ministries, departments, state enterprises. Is this matter something to do with government? Or is it something to do that you are a legend? And I come back again, we had no part of Cambridge Analytica or the affiliates, the UNC. So it's a witch hunt, it's a puppy show, because if they really had any evidence, they would take it to the police. They will take it to the DPP. But the parliament is being abused for their propaganda purposes. So while statements, sending this to JSC and so on, I repeat, and I want to make it very clear, that the UNC had no involvement, no contract, no dealings with Cambridge Analytica or any of their companies. But you know who had involvement? You know who was involved in data mining? They're attacking the UNC and trying to say, accusing us about data mining, when it is the very PNM who has been engaged in data mining before the election. The very PNM. And it is out there on the World Wide Web. Anyone with a computer, even the children that we gave the laptops to, because some of them are still in school, they will find on the website 2 companies who have boasted of electing Prime Minister Rowley. Take a look at this video, please.
While AG Faris Al-Rawi is busy trying to create a JSC witch hunt focused on the publicly discredited allegation of data mining by the UNC,
the testimony of Christopher Wiley before a House of Commons committee must be taken seriously.
it has now surfaced that it was the PNM who used Washington-based company Wastage Strategies and the Texas-based Elite Change Inc. It is alleged that it was in fact the PNM that hatched a conspiracy to harvest and mine personal data and information from the unsuspecting public in order to manipulate voting patterns. The company's website states, in 2015, Wastage Strategies was given its biggest challenge to date: build a data-centered grassroots and digital organizing program for the People's National Movement during the 2015 general elections in Trinidad and Tobago. Wastage Strategies, on its website, cited the election of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley in 2015 as one of its accomplishments. The second US-based company, Elite Change, says that it takes demographics, district makeup, and constituent habits into account when identifying proven, successful methods on which to build its campaigns. The company also boasted that it helped Rowley achieve victory. Yet again, we see the bold-faced lies and deception of the Rowley PNM and the hypocrisy of the worst Attorney General in the history of the Caribbean and Latin America, Faris Al-Rawi.
He's a liar, liar. He's a liar, liar. No, you can't trust him. No, 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 no. He's a liar, liar. He's a liar, liar. No, you can't trust him. No, 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 no.
So you see, do so and like so. The very things they accuse others of, that is what they were doing before the 2015 general elections. I say to them, do not judge the UNC by your standards. Do not judge the UNC by your standards. Everybody says, many speakers say that their granny told them something. Well, I'll tell you something my RG told me. When you're pointing finger at someone else, the other finger's pointing back, right back at you. And that is the PNM now. So, don't come at the UNC with the kind of wicked work you were doing. Don't attack the UNC for that, and don't tarnish the UNC with that. You see, they were hoping that nobody would check. That is what I was telling you. They were hoping that no one would find these things. And we've saved the websites, the sites of these 2 companies, because we feel when we expose it, they will go on, take down the information, but it is there for all to see. So you go up on your computer, Wastage Strategies, look for Wastage Strategies, and you will find emblazoned all the red and ready people. They helped elect Prime Minister Rowley. Go up on Elite Change, that's the second company, and you will also see it. So I'm not making this up. This is on the World Wide Web. Thank God for computers. Thank God for the internet. You could do things you feel is outside the country and you're hiding, but it's out there for all to see. So I want to ask them, what were the roles of these two companies? Were these companies working on their party's behalf to harvest and mine personal data and information from the unsuspecting public to manipulate voting patterns? The Vestige strategies and Texas elite change both boastfully, I mean, they're so happy they elect a prime minister. And they had this to say under the headline, Vestige strategies leads the PNM to victory in 2015. Trinidad and Tobago general election, Dr. Keith Rowley elected prime minister. This is what they're showing to the world that they were able to achieve. That's what they boast about. And under that headline, on their site, they said that it was digital organizing strategy work that they did for the PNM that resulted in election victory. The company stated winning 23 of 41 constituency seats yesterday, so this went out the very next day of the election, after the election. They said that was a decisive victory for the PNM. Over the course of the past year, Vestige strategies recruited and deployed a team of 12 former Obama campaign staffers to lead grassroots and digital organizing strategy. They say further, we built an incredibly talented and diverse team of consultants who proved merging culture and data-driven organizing strategies can be the difference maker in close elections. This is what they were doing. The company further claimed that it was hired to build a data-centered grassroots and digital organizing program for the PNM during the last election, 2015. Elite, the next company, boasts on its website that Elite Change helped lead Trinidad and Tobago's PNM party and Dr. Keith Rowley to victory in Prime Minister's race. Okay? They state that the team implemented a robust analytics-driven canvassing program that spanned the entire country. Elite worked to create a long-standing data infrastructure with the use of technological advancements the country had not yet known. So what were these advancements? Where was the data mining and harvesting taking place? So now, these two companies were paid millions of dollars by the PNM to gather sensitive personal data on citizens in a secret project designed to manipulate and influence the electorate. Now, I agree a matter like this should be investigated to see whether there is any breach of law. But a GSC is not the place to investigate breaches of law. As I said before, it has to be DPP, TTPS, Integrity Commission, and I call on those authorities to investigate Vestige and Elite Change with respect to the work they did. But there is something even more mind-boggling in all of it, in this whole scenario. You must pay close attention. I wonder if you remember that there is another Obama staffer who has been hired by this government when they came into office. The lobbyist, Washington lobbyist. There is a common thread between these two companies and the PNM campaign of 2015. So these companies came in before the election, but after the election, a lobbyist was hired for $16 million, one of you remember. And there is an article just recently, I think in the Guardian newspaper, where they were asking, well, what has this lobbyist done for this $2 million? And they can't find anything that he has done. In fact, we have the opposite of the work that that lobbying firm was hired for in terms of reference, you know, to make us look better with Trump, make sure Trinidad and Tobago grow, our foreign policy with the US, all of that to be done. Instead, what have we seen? For a third time in a row, we've seen our foreign policy and foreign relations, foreign affairs in shambles. We saw it with the OAS matter when the vote was taken against Dominica. Shame on Trinidad and Tobago that we did not support Dominica for their waiver. We saw it again, and on this third occasion, we are seeing and reading, and we have to question if this is so, that Trinidad and Tobago has sent back Venezuelans, which some people might be happy for. But the point is, whether did they break any UN convention? That question has to be asked. So once again, we have the United Nations, another foreign affairs matter, up in arms against the actions of Trinidad and Tobago. So look, by their own admissions, these two companies have indicated that they never worked outside of the US in an election. So how they dropped from the US into Trinidad and Tobago in 2015? Don't you find it strange that these US-based companies suddenly found our twin island, tiny little republic? They found these 2 dots on the map and come down here to data mine and harvest and do everything else. How? Well, not so fast, Keith. Not so fast, Keith and Faris. Because you see, when you look at the track record and the work these companies do, it involves monitoring social media through Facebook, Twitter, other social media platforms as part of its communications trust. It collects and analyzes personal data through what they call robust analytics. Does that sound familiar to you? Robust analytics. And then they must tell us who brought these two companies to the campaign in 2015. Did his campaign manager engage the services of Rowley's good friend? That's what Rowley called him in the parliament. He said the lobbyist was his good friend. Did his campaign manager engage Rowley's good friend from Washington to bring these companies before the general election? And then, remember, the picture paints 1,000 words, connect the dots. So they win the election, and then what happens? Pay to play. Pay to play. So they bring in two companies to data mine and so on, and immediately after the election, sole selective tendering. Not an open tender process. They hire lobbyists and pay him $16 million. And today nobody knows what he lobbied for. So was it, I'm asking, a case of pay to play? And the work that might have been done by this lobbyist before the election, by bringing in these companies, he collected his contract as a lobbyist for Trinidad and Tobago. You see, who brokered the deal? That's what I'm asking, and I asked the Prime Minister tonight. Did the Washington lobbyists bring in these companies with an understanding that there would be pay to play after the elections? Is this a case of the good friend, as Prime Minister called him, helping out another good friend to become Prime Minister? And then when his friend became Prime Minister, he was paid millions of dollars to lobby. No lobbying. They talk about ghosts. I heard Fazal talk tonight about ghosts in the OJT. Well, there's ghost lobbying going on here, I'm asking. Tell us what they have done so far. So, on that issue, I'm sure there's more to come. But you see, in a statement Faris made in Parliament, he had this to say. Micro-targeting refers to the process of data analyzing and communication and so on. All of this, accusing others of, that they were engaged in. He made a case for an investigation, and I'm calling for a case for investigation of his party's actions. I think, Jillian has mentioned it already, I think Faris is reeling from the blows from the Trinidad Express headline, Faris fails. The only fella, real inflated ego. So that headline, Faris fails, when Jillian and Ramdeen floored him. Next day headline, Faris fails. That fella just so busy. As I say, he's the most loquacious minister. He called a press conference immediately and spent his time blah, 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 blah. So when he got that blow, he just couldn't take it. I saw recently in the Senate, there was a debate on the land valuation bill. And the AG stopped talking about law after he got that blow. He stopped talking about law. Instead, he started to talk about what? The economy. And he blamed the People's Partnership. I blame Kamala, of course. He blamed us for the state of the economy today. So you see what happened there? When the AG fails at law, he starts speaking economics. And when he fails at economics, he starts speaking about analytics. That's where he's gone. A failed Faris never thought that their lies will catch up with them and his party. Tonight in St. Augustine, this is sacred ground. In the same way we declared to you in Maruga Tableland a few weeks ago that a scandalized and disgraced Darrell Smith would be taken to the political cemetery. Tonight we declare that Farris's political days are numbered and he'll be joining Smith very soon. So the question is, who is running the country? Who is really running the country? Prime Minister Imbert. I think he's running the country right now because the Prime Minister is out. So the de facto Prime Minister, the real Prime Minister is Imbert running the country. I think he has acted. Remember, I keep telling you, greatest actor, he will get the Oscar for acting, has acted as Prime Minister, I don't know, almost about 20 times. How many times? Yes. So, Imbert has failed. Imbert has failed. State of the economy. See, he comes on and he talks about economic recovery. Last week sometime he's talking about economic recovery. And when we do the budget review, he'll come and share numbers and talk about the growth rate and whatever and whatever. You know, even while he was talking, the IMF downgraded our economic growth performance even further down from the previous figure of 1.9%, which was forecasted for 2018, you know what about 0.2%. 0.2%. And this man boasting about economic recovery. Well, I guess it's only him, as the owner of a yacht, who removed the tax on yachts. For him, that is a recovery. That's a big recovery for him and the 1%. This downgrade was made in the IMF's World Economic Outlook, which came out last week. They predicted 0.2%. It's still positive, yes, because it could be worse, it could be minus. But when you're growing from nowhere, and you have a 0.2%, you have no growth. You have no sustainability. And we have spoken time and time again, they have no plan, they have no vision, they have nothing to do to grow the economy and to diversify this economy. Even worse, the prediction for 2019 is also posted at 0.2% in 2019. That will be an important period in our future. It represents a juncture at which many of our natural gas projects will come into fruition. So imagine those new projects come, but still 0.2%. You know, the way I watch it, they will just be 0, 0, and we'll go into minus under this government. So why does Rowley let Imbert continue to abuse his office, abuse citizens with his mismanagement of the economy when he's not qualified for the job? As I said, imagine a yacht owner who is the Minister of Finance removing taxes on yachts. I mean, who's so bold-faced? They're shameless. It is wicked. You going into the parliament to help yourself. When you took that tax off your yacht, you know why it's bothering me? Because I saw a picture on one of the Facebook, this man on a yacht and, you know, steering the yacht on the water. And man can't even have 2 feet to walk on in this country. He's walking on water and riding on water. Take off his taxes. I mean, you can imagine if anybody in the UNC did that. And this country is staying so quiet. Shameless and wicked, I'm coming to that. They don't care about you and your families. They do not care about their own PNM supporters, much less for you and the rest of the country. I have a question for Ms. Imbert. How is it that your 1% friends from the golf club, you see, I don't even go there, I can't pronounce it properly, golf club and the yacht club getting millions in foreign exchange to do what? To import strawberries, to import shoes and fancy clothes and all the other things. They are getting the foreign exchange. But the ordinary 99% of people in our country, if you're going to the bank, you have to stand up for hours. And when you reach the top of the line, say none. We have none. How is it that your 1% is getting the foreign exchange when the ordinary person in this country can't get $100 US in Forex to buy something or to even go on a vacation? A lot of people are accustomed in the summer, they will take a little vacation. Look, people used to help themselves. When you're 1%, friends bring down their things You didn't tax that. They bring it in ship and boat. People were doing online. Who is a small man will buy a little item from Amazon or whatever these companies are. You tax that too. You tax that too. And so that is, don't you think, don't you think the 99% deserve the same respect as the 1%? Don't you think so? Why you, as an ordinary citizen, have to spend all these hours on this line? Why you cannot get Forex when they're getting... You know what they did? They fired Jawala Rambaran. You know why? To cover up who are the people getting the millions in Forex. Because when Jawala came out and he said, look, it was this company, that company, these are the big Forex spenders. You know what they did? They fired him. And of course, they are not telling you now. We will never know under them. Because this is confidential information. We don't know, but we know. They can't fool us. They can't fool us. We're not stupid. We know it is your friends and family and the 1%. What the 1%? So they had to fire Jawala to cover up what was really going on with that foreign exchange. So you want to hear about the boat now? Let's talk about Rohan Sinanan. Jalen spoke about him a bit. I mentioned two members of the cabinet. I talked about Faris, I talked about Minister Imbert and so on. But this is another minister. Moses is a third one. I said Moses 3 in a row. 3 disasters in foreign policy. 3 in a row. Moses must go. Moses must go. Why are you shielding him? Why are you holding him and shielding him when he's a disaster with respect to the foreign affairs of Trinidad and Tobago? I have a former ambassador here, Rodney Charles, who will make 1,000 times better Minister of Foreign Affairs. So, let's get to the fairy tales and Rohan Sinanan. For more than a year, Rohan presided over the total collapse of the sea bridge. Not just the boat, also the air bridge. His leader continues to block for Rohan. And we don't know what hold Rohan may have on the leader, Rowley. Okay? A disaster, collapsed sea bridge. And Rohan still smiling. Any other person, any other leader would have fired Rohan long before now. Fired Rohan long before now. The sea bridge plagued with issues since they came into office and then continued with Rohan when he became minister. We have seen blunder after blunder. The citizens of this country, business people, tourists, suffering. But not them. They're not suffering. No big deal. They make a big production, as Jillian mentioned, of the return, finally, after almost a year in dry dock, of the TNT Spirit. Never mind how much money has already been spent on that. It's their fault that the boat has been experiencing so many problems, because you know what they did too? They didn't just shut down the other boat we had, the Superfast Galicia. They also run out the maintenance company. So these boats now, the company that would have taken, they run them out. I don't know if they have some friend or family to give that job to, but they run out the maintenance company. And now the poor boat, that poor boat, it's like it gets a spirit lash. The boat continues to have problems. 4 days after they put it back in service, and Jillian told you to pray and whatever and sprinkle water. And I don't know if the Lukoto Jambi, Shamfa or somebody spirit lash that poor boat. 4 days you put the thing back after a big puppy show. I think Rohan was actually riding on the stern of the boat and guiding it across the Mocas to Tobago. I think so. A hydraulic hose, as Jillian told you, it burst. It could not dock in the Port of Spain dock and so on. And then today, I'm told something else has happened. Something else happened with this poor boat again. Fuel light. The fuel line burst. Leak. You know what that means? That is a dangerous thing. And we will never, fire hazard. We will never forget how those passengers had to jump from one boat. It wrenched my heart. to see these elderly people, and I think almost everyone in Trinidad and Tobago, to see these people in the mirror, you see somewhere jumping from one boat to the next, somewhere injured and so on. You could imagine the trauma of those people in the sea there on this boat. And so we are here today. We are here today. The fuel leak we learned about caused a delay in the sailing of the vessel. Some time ago, I promised to hold Rohan Sinanan accountable to you, okay? To the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight, I want to tell you that we have filed a motion of no confidence in Rohan Sinanan. As Minister of Works. As Minister of Works. And this is how the motion reads. Whereas, since September 2015, the government has squandered millions of taxpayers' dollars on the now collapsed sea bridge, whereas the government has failed in every attempt to remedy what is seen as a disaster and an injustice to the traveling public via the sea bridge, whereas the Minister of Works has utterly failed in discharging his responsibility to manage this primary and vital mode of public transport, whereas the actions, conduct, and non-performance of the Minister of Works and Transport in this regard have been the subject of widespread adverse commentary and criticism, and whereas the procurement and operations of the vessels on the sea bridge have been marred by allegations of corruption with stakeholder criticism and public uproar, and whereas the Minister of Works has presided over these vessels with serious safety defects, and by so doing has risked the health and safety of the public, be it resolved that this House express its lack of confidence in the Minister of Works and Transport, and to call upon the Prime Minister to revoke the said minister's appointment forthwith. So we have filed this motion, and it will be debated on Friday the 27th. That is Friday coming. Friday coming, not the vote. The motion is coming on Friday the 27th. That boat was supposed to come at the end of April. I think it's gone to May. You see that boat? See it when it comes. Don't expect it at all. Don't even predict. Because every prediction has proven to be a lie. Every statement was supposed to come at the end of last year, in fact. Then we hear end of April. Now we are hearing May. As I say, see it when you see it. Believe it only when you see it. So we will debate blunderbuss, Rohan Sinanan, blunder after blunder. So I've dubbed him Blunderbuss Rohan. We will deal with you on Friday in the Parliament. And as we move along now, the question we must all ask ourselves is whether we could survive another 2 years of this Rowley PNM government. I know that some of the critical areas here in St. Augustine are education, training, and the need for jobs, as elsewhere. Jobs, jobs, jobs. The availability of jobs is an issue throughout the country. And they are like ostriches dipping their head down in sand, hiding, and saying, no job losses, boy. I'm sure everybody here knows somebody who's lost their job. People listening know that too. And so it is minimal job losses, they call it, minimal. Thousands of people have lost their jobs. Embarrassing is always out there on this issue. And they're refusing to believe and telling lies with respect to jobs. They are desperately trying to cover up. They will have you believe that there is no economic crisis. Well, they cannot even agree if there is a crisis or not. They are so totally lost. It's either they're looking up or they're looking down. But as Fazal told you earlier tonight, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And you know what is the answer? It's Kamla's fault. I'm saying it deliberately. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and it will be Kamla's fault. And I will take that too. I am taking back that too. Kamla and the UNC will show you the light at the end of the tunnel, and we shall bring the rises on back, get the UNC into office. We created jobs. We were there, 57,000 jobs and more. Okay? On every occasion Rowley has spoken, he has not given you a single idea how to fix the economy. First, I'll talk to you tonight about the education city. That was St. Augustine. And I'm sure many of you could not believe your ears when you heard how many things the UNC-led government had done between 2010 and 2015 here in St. Augustine alone. Well, we did that throughout the country. And tonight now, I want to share with you some things to do with education and training. A lot of people have spoken tonight about education and training. We are in the education city. And I intend, as we keep these meetings, I intend to roll out parts of our plan. I'm not going to give them our whole plan, so you can't trust them. They may take our plan, and then they can't implement it and mess up the plan. So we're not telling the whole plan. But I will share with you tonight some of our plans for improvements in the education sector. And with each meeting, we will roll out some plans for other sectors. Because people say sometimes, they want to hear what we could do and what we will do. We spend time reminding you of what we did, so we have the ability and the capacity that we can implement, we can deliver, and we will deliver. And it is interesting that some of the things I've included to speak here tonight about the education sector. When I arrived, I received, you will see the children, some children came to give me letters. And would you believe some things that they were asking for is already in my statements to you tonight, in my speech. So let me just read from them first. And I didn't plan this, please. I mean, I came here and they gave me the corridor and then on stage. Dear Auntie Kamla, my name is Saud Mirza. I am a special needs child. I would like to know, when you get back in government, if you would make education for special needs children free. The answer is yes. That answer is yes. The other one is from Amelia Marshall. Auntie Kamla, my name is Amelia Marshall. I wish you can be our Prime Minister again. I also wish that I can get free books and education. The answer is yes. The rest of it is sort of praising me up, but I'll read it anyhow. I love you, Auntie Kamla. I like the way you speak and your smile and the way you dress. I wish you all the best in the upcoming election. Love always. Amelia Marshall. I'm 8 years old. Give Amelia a round of applause. I have one here from a 6-year-old child. My name is Farisha Khan. I like you, and I want you to be the next Prime Minister, etc. I like the way you look or something. Yes, smile. Good. Good. I like to smile. I'm a happy person. God is great. And then Jared Khan, I love you. You're very smart, intelligent, and brave. I want you to be my next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, my home country and nation. I attend Tunapuna Secondary School in Form 1R. Give it up for these young children. Let us thank them. Let us thank them. So let me share with you some of our plans for the education sector. All children aged 2 to 5 would have free preschool. Free preschool, we had begun it when we were there. But this government now is not honoring what was taking place with the free preschool. We will provide for children between 2 and 5 free school transport and provide free meals for children 2 and 5. We will introduce free psychological assessment for preschool children in 9 categories: academic, behavioral, social, emotional, adaptive functioning, fine or gross motor skills, speech and language, for example with autism and dyslexia. We can then adjust our teaching programs to suit the needs, preventing problems for children that would occur later. So in the years 2 to 5, we will do this and assess them and plan for them. You remember the baby grant? They took away the baby grant. We will bring back the baby grant. We will introduce free medical examinations to detect diseases, malformations, and abuse at an early age. And I talked about the baby grant, but this heartless government took away that baby grant. But we also had a program for special needs children, the children's cerebral palsy. You all remember that? You know, it was heartbreaking to watch on I.A.N.'s program recently, the parents of a special needs child. And they were, you know, you saw the plight of families with children with cerebral palsy. And their child had died. And they had a special wheelchair. And there was people who were, I.A.N. had put out this program where we have to get a wheelchair for a child who's alive. And those parents whose child had died, they came on and they donated that wheelchair. Let's say thanks to good parents like that. It must have been very traumatic. And just to see the plight now, the child that they gave the wheelchair to, the conditions that child is living in, and many others like that. So we will, again, have programs for special needs children. All those special needs children, I think Christine is here. I had opened together with her a special center at Carlson Field for children with special needs, people with special needs. You know what, this wicked government that closed it down up to today, it will not open. They do not care for the 1%, sorry, the 100. They do not care for the 99%. They care only for the 1%. So let's see some more plans for the education sector that I've shared with you. Meals, transport, free books, and so on. The laptops. We will give the children the laptops. Give the children the laptops. You know, I saw students from the Chaguanas North Secondary School. They created an anti-bullying app. You know why they were able to do that? Laptops. Laptops. And so I want to highlight that accomplishment of these students who use the resources of the digital age in developing this app to be used for such a sensitive, widespread problem as bullying in our schools. This is the direction we have to focus upon to combat these problems, and therefore we have to provide the essential tools for students in our education system so they can live. They can be trained for this digital age that we are now in. I propose that we will give a $500 voucher each term for after-school activities for each student. I propose that parents must sign a pledge to take responsibility for their children's actions at school. I propose that there be a curfew for school-age children during school hours. I don't want to see no school children on the street. During school hours, you are home or you are in school. I propose that parents patrol schools in the schools, parents patrols in schools to complement the deeds and security and so on already there, that parents can also have a part to play. Those who are available, you can take turns, you can pool your resources and help with our children, your own children. I propose that we introduce a life skills and basic financial training as a core part of the children's syllabus in the school. Life skills training and basic financial training. I propose that we convert vocational institutions such as MIC, NESC, etc., into secondary schooling institutions. And you know why? We have to remove the stigma that has been associated with tech voc education. And so we have these as mainstream educational institutions. I propose that we should have scholarships for arts, for sports, and also for the vocational areas. I propose that there be ongoing yearly psychological testing for students. I propose that there be zero tolerance on abuse against teachers. I propose that there be a reduction in homework. Now, nobody are clapping for that, but I will tell you, you will have happier, healthier, and brighter children. Then children have to sit down every evening to do 5 hours of homework. They're tired to go to school next morning. I propose that when there are these activities, after school activities, there should be school meals, some meal available. Not everybody can afford it. I also propose an extra $200 for children who are from single-parent homes. So, my friends, I'm coming to the end of my speech to you tonight. I just have one thing more to tell you. I am of the firm view that our great party is the best hope to return prosperity and growth to our nation. We have prepared a vision and a plan to return stability to the country, to take us on a progressive path. I've shared with you the education sector tonight. As we continue to meet and speak, I will share other sectors with you in terms of the plans that we are developing. Our vision and our policies we have developed and will develop will deliver more jobs, safer streets, improved childcare, greater connectivity, and improved health care for you and your family. These are the plans that we are developing. Safer streets, more jobs. Look, we have to get this wicked government out of office. Legally, we have to get them out. They must go. And we have to do that because we have to join together. Let us get Trinidad and Tobago working again. Let us get Trinidad and Tobago working again. Let us get ministers and MPs of government who are also working MPs and ministers. We have to get them out so that we can get TNT working again. Jobs, jobs. That's what people are demanding, and they are incapable of delivering. So whatever your background, whatever you can contribute, I said, let us work together and make Trinidad and Tobago better. Within all of us, we have a Trinbagonian spirit for innovation, for excellence, for cooperation, to come together to make our country a better place. And tonight I ask you again, are you ready to move with us? Are you ready to return our party with a plan to rescue Trinidad and Tobago? Stand with us. I ask you, let us move forward together. The UNC will embrace the challenges that lie ahead by continuing to focus on people-centered development. That is what will be our goal, and that is what our vision, that will drive our vision and our mission. I am UNC and proud. Are you UNC? Are you proud? I am. And I'm proud of you, UNC. I am so proud of Team UNC and the work that we've been doing and will continue to do. And I want you to remember something always. As you go about your activities, as you work together in teams or singly or otherwise, I want you to remember, you have had leaders before me. You will have leaders after me. But you will never have a leader who loves you as much as I do. Never, never. So thank you all. God bless you. God bless you all. I will see you, if not before. Maybe I'll see some of you outside the Parliament on Friday as we debate our motion of no confidence. And I will definitely see you on Monday the 7th, MNF, Monday Night Meeting Forum, Monday the 7th in the constituency of Tunapuna. We are on the move and we will march together. God bless and thank you very much.
I feel like move any mountain, I trample any building like man better than monster, dismantle any structure, boy. Trample them, trample them, trample them, trample them. Rip up my shop and bust up my jeans and step on my problems. Then what we gonna do? Trample them, trample them.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We want to wish our political leader happy birthday. I want to invite those of you who are standing in front to feel free to come closer to the stage as we have a special item for the birthday of our dear political leader. Join us as Brian Mohan will lead us in